Cold open question of the week, Kaz.
What's up, Shoes?
In honor of SummerSlam, this is a little bit of a thinker for you this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's been widely discussed that Liv Morgan, our women's world champion, has hit the 100-day mark as women's champion with 0 title defenses. 0 title defenses. Can you name any champion, tag team, or singles in WWE history that went a longer period than Liv Morgan without defending the title?
Yes, the Honky Tonk Man, Intercontinental Champion.
No, he's not on the list. Would he be on there?
I feel like he should be. Oh, there's a list. I didn't know you had a list.
No, I mean, I have some names that are like pulled up, but I don't
I'm
know.
almost positive the Honky Tonk Man went months without defending that Intercontinental Championship before the Ultimate Warrior just like ran through him and took it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if it was more. It had to be more than 100 days.
No, but back then all those champions were defending on the house show circuit and winning. You know, that was like the gimmick. I don't know.
That.
Bruce, look it up. That could be wrong. Here, there are 2 very obvious names who went longer than 100 days. 2 people who are competing at SummerSlam. Can you think of any who either of those people might be?
I'm gonna go the easy guess, Roman Reigns and
Correct.
Brock Lesnar.
That's right. Roman Reigns, during his historic run as Undisputed Champ, went 126 days at one point between the Rumble and Night of Champions in 23, which is pretty shocking. And I remember complaining about it at the time, but it completely lost to memory. And then Brock, when he was champ for 500 whatever days, went nearly 4 months, 118 days between the greatest Royal Rumble, which was a great event, and SummerSlam, both in 2018. It's pretty significant. Friend of the show, Jade Cargill, also went 100 days during her initial run as champ. And honorable mention goes to Dean Ambrose, who went 98 days as U.S. champion without a defense. I don't think he was too proud of that statistic. And Shinsuke Nakamura, where, again, they forget about the mid-card. He went about 3 months in 2019 without defending. But the champion of all champions, the longest reigning non-defending champion ever, was, I know he's not your favorite wrestler, but he's so similar to your favorite wrestler, he might be your second favorite wrestler, Gillberg. When Gillberg was the WWF light heavyweight champion, he went 423 days without a title defense before eventually losing it to Essa Rios, who I thought was going to be the biggest, coolest wrestler of all time and was proven wrong. Anyway, SummerSlam's coming up. Let's start the show. Welcome to the Masked Man Show with Kaz. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Shoes. How about yourself?
Doing good. My new book, Why Hulk Hogan Matters, is out. Please order your copy. There's ebook, there's audiobook, there's it's got to be a paperback hopefully at some point, but not yet. I've done some cool podcasts and radio shots and, talked to some journalists and stuff about it, but the most important thing is that people buy it and read it. So give it a shot, guys.
What was the most fun spot that you did? I think I heard you on the way home one day on Danhausen and Rosenberg ESPN,
yeah,
which is nice.
That was a lot of fun. I think that was the first big spot that I did.
Yeah.
And that was live, I mean, that was like, and so I was a little bit like, I don't even know how this is going to go. I mean, when you're doing print media, there's a lot of like, you say something with the topic as difficult as Hogan, which is why I wrote the book, but it doesn't mean it's easy to spit out, paragraphs about my feelings for him. But when I did that, when I was like, oh, let's see. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot. I mean, I thought that went really well. It always helps when you have somebody like Rosenberg, who is one, intimately knowledgeable on the subject, and 2, your friend, like whatever. Rosenberg taught me how to broadcast by sitting next to him, and he's still good at leading me along by the ear or whatever, whenever we do those sort of things. So that was good. I did it's not out yet, but I did a podcast called The Doctor and the Comedian that we recorded yesterday. And it was just an hour of like the most fun I've ever had. It is exactly what it sounds like. It's hosted by a doctor and a comedian. two separate people.
Nice.
And so we talked about comedy and wrestling. We talked about, medicine and wrestling, but we mostly just talked about Hulk Hogan and wrestling. So
I gotta ask you, Dave, are you going to make me pay for a copy?
No,
do I get one on the house?
Take a copy? No,
I didn't take one.
You're the only one that gets one. So yeah,
all
but though, right. Yes. The last time I saw you, I had 2 copies to my name. I got 2 in the mail, and then I got the box. The box came, so I have a few more I can hand out. So yeah, for sure.
Next time we record in person, I need one. I need one signed by you. By the way,
you got it, man. No
got your
trouble
other
at all.
Hold on, before you leave, just so we're not bullshitting with you. Hold on. Don't forget. Bong, still got it.
Oh my God.
You already know.
Yeah. The squared circle. I actually, during my recent move, I uncovered a giant, tub full of that book, which I thought I was out of copies of. So, by the way, somebody sent me a UPS mailer like 2 years ago, probably more, to give them a signed copy of the book. I didn't have one, was scrounging for one. And then, no offense to the employer, but Spotify deleted all the old emails, so I don't even have the dude's contact anymore. So if you're listening to this, and my guess is he probably stopped listening because he hates me so much. But if you're still listening, send me another email or tweet at me or something. I'm actually looking at Twitter now. I'll send you that and anything else. It's exciting stuff. But there's more exciting stuff going on in the world of pro wrestling. We have SummerSlam on Saturday.
Can I ask you one question before?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Book related. Do you think, why Hulk Hogan Matters is the spiritual successor to this book right here, which I think is some of your best work?
Yeah, I do. Well, here, what I was talking yesterday, and it never really occurred to me, but like when I first started writing, I was writing a column called Dead Wrestler of the Week on Deadspin.com. That's where a lot of that book started out. And the title Dead Wrestler of the Week was so deliberately like antagonistic, to like get, not only was it like, hey, we're talking about dead wrestlers, but it was Dead Wrestler of the Week, as if there were so many dead wrestlers that I could write about it just every freaking week. I didn't actually write about it every week, but like, I know that WWE folks like had me on a blacklist for a while because of that. They didn't know who I was. Like I was anonymous for a while, but even when it came out when I told everybody who I was, which was years later, there was still like a, do not entertain this man thing going. And I don't take it that seriously. It was probably something that like somebody in power said offhandedly one time and everybody else was too scared to like bring it up again. It's like, why? I wasn't anybody to worry about. But all that said, it was called Dead Wrestler of the Week, but it was the most loving column you could possibly imagine. Like just talking about how much I care for these wrestlers and what they mean for me and all these other fans and how sad it is that they're gone and everything else. So it was sort of like a wolf in sheep's or sheep in wolf's clothing. This title is more of a wolf in sheep's clothing because I know the title Why Hulk Hogan Matters strikes some people as maybe too. They assume it's going to be sort of forgiving and entirely positive and everything else, but no, it's the opposite. There's a lot that we love about Hulk Hogan, but more importantly, there's a lot that we don't love about Hulk Hogan, and that's the reason why you write this book. It's like trying to reconcile those feelings. And he matters a lot, but not just for good reasons, our idols can let us down too. So
man, I used to read Dead Wrestler of the Week. I was a frequent Deadspin visitor back in its heyday before the aforementioned Hulk Hogan took it down and everything with it. So I don't know. Do you think he was playing the long game, brother? You think this all ties back in?
When I wrote, when I was writing Dead Wrestler of the Week, I think I wrote very, very few pieces about wrestlers who had just died. Most of them were people who had passed, several years before or whatever. I think the first one I did in the immediate aftermath of the death was Chris Kanyon, who I don't have any special affinity for, but it was so hard to write, like right after he died. I say all that to say, my Hogan obituary that ran on theringer.com was, I'm sure, not much different than what I would have written on Dead Wrestler of the Week. I do want to say one fun thing about Deadspin, Dead Wrestler of the Week, and I said this before, but when I wrote the first ever piece, and under the pseudonym The Masked Man, the comment section was robust, as comment sections on blogs were in those days. And it was half people trying to guess who I was, And a lot of the guesses were Bill Simmons and Chuck Klosterman, which literally gave me the confidence to keep writing. Because I was like, if you've mistaken me for one of my favorite writers, then okay. But the more important thing is the other half of the comments were people saying, what is this crap doing on Deadspin? Saying, why is there pro wrestling coverage on Deadspin.com, which is mind-boggling to think about. This is 15 years ago. That like Deadspin commenters were upset that there was wrestling content on a irreverent sports blog. And we've come a long way, kids. We've come a long way.
Yo, Avengers Doomsday is coming out, and I think the plot of the movie is like the incursions and how like Captain America, Steve Rogers went back to try and live a regular life, and that one decision like set off this entire chain of events. The Dead Wrestler of the Week somehow set off this chain of events that made wrestling coverage popular on Deadspin, which eventually made the videotape that leaked with Hulk Hogan end up on Deadspin, which eventually, you know what I mean? It's some real multiversal shit that I think it's funny enough. You're kind of you're kind of the anchor being of Hulk Hogan. If you go,
I appreciate that. But by the way, just incidentally, one of the writers on Avengers Doomsday is Michael Waldron, who is a amazing person and a huge wrestling fan. So there's probably more. But man, if you watch, I mean, he was largely responsible for Loki and Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange movie, which I thought was, or the whatever multitude of what's a movie called?
The Multiverse
of Madness.
Yes.
Which is really one of the most, as a writer, one of the most enthralling movies. Whenever you get into the multiverse stuff, you know that like, just like with wrestling writing, everybody's going to have an opinion. All the fans are going to, because all the fans kind of know more than you. And there's going to be now like literally 10 million people trying to figure out why your multiverse theory doesn't hold up, you know? And I've rewatched that movie so many times because it's just like, just try to imagine being at his computer or being in that writer's room and just like trying to piece all this together, having the big bulletin board on the wall with, by the way, totally off subject. You know the bulletin board meme with the strings and the cards and whatever else, and you're like the crazy detective
from It's
thing.
So Sunny,
yeah. But in general, they have those in like every detective movie or whatever else. Why doesn't that have a name? Because every time someone brings it up, it's like, hey, the bulletin board with strings, you know, from the meme, or like, you know, from like the, like we should have a word for that, just like a detective board or something. Yeah. Anyway, so leave that aside. Okay. Can we talk about wrestling? Well, let's talk about
it.
We're going to talk about SummerSlam. So let's just quickly get Dynamite out of the way. I thought it was good. They did a lot to follow up on a very, very good redemption card and steer us towards what is looking to be a pretty insane all-in card. They opened up the show like, we've got 4 matches announced. I was like, I feel like you have 12 matches announced because it's like so many things are steering in the right direction. I don't know what. Let's just hit the high notes. What was your favorite part of Dynamite last night?
I loved the Willow Mercedes Moné celebration. I thought it was really enthralling to see Willow Nightingale get, legitimately touched by the reception she got, and Mercedes sort of talk about how her road in her post Sasha Banks life has always somehow tied back into Willow Nightingale. And
yes.
I thought that was a great thread to sort of tie in together as why this all-in match matters and why this is going to be one of the bigger matches on the card. And, I love watching those two wrestle. They've never had a bad match in my eyes. And, we talk about wrestlers who never nut up when it's a big match time, when it's a big match situation, and Mercedes Moné is one of those people. So that segment really got me excited to see where that match goes because you can legitimately take it anywhere. Like, I can't call a winner for that one.
I was rewatching. Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that Willow is there at all, this is clearly a slow burn, long-term storytelling thing. Part of me thinks the fact that Willow's in that spot at all means she's going to win. But you just never know.
Maybe she won't.
But maybe she won't. It's funny. I went back and watched some of Willow's recent matches, and she's in like significantly better shape than she was since the last time they fought. Not like I'm not doing like body
all you could
stuff.
say it is.
No. I mean, I don't even know. I didn't go back further, but there was a sort of like John Cena-esque slow motion to some of her stuff before. Like you can see the wind up. It seems a little bit like a performance with some of her big stuff, and she needs to be the best at what she is. She needs to have freaking like the greatest knees in the history of the sport. She needs to be able to pounce with every move, to make it look like she's the physically dominant force that she could be, to make it really look like that. Not like house show or indie wrestling, like we're all kind of playing along together form. She looks great now. And I think they're going to have the best match. I think it's going to be an epic match. I think it's going to be so good. My favorite part about that segment was that Willow did the bee rabbit thing at the beginning, where she's just like, I know why you're mad. I can tell why you're mad, basically saying, I know what you're about to say. And then Mercedes got on the mic and she was just like, you know something, Willow? You're right about everything you said. I don't like you for all the reasons that are obvious, that everybody knows about. But she pulled it off, and it was just like, it was a great promo. And it brought, like you said, this long-term storyline, it brought it all together. If you didn't know, and this is really necessary. WWE does a great job with the promo packages for their matches. AEW, in some sense, needs it even more, because when Tony really gets a long-term story in his head, sometimes it's gone on for so long that it's not clear to everybody. We don't all remember it immediately. And man, that promo set the stage for this match, where it's like, dude, why was I even like 1% thinking Tekla might win at Redemption? It's like, this is so obvious. And that's what makes it so great. My favorite moment, for a similar reason, was the closing promo between Ospreay and Omega, and just watching these guys sort of like get into the posture of the two guys who are going to have the biggest match in the history of this company is very interesting. Kenny had, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, he was immaculately dressed. He had a suit that he clearly paid a lot of money for, or at least paid the tailor a lot of money for. And he cut what I think is his best promo of his career. It's the first time I can remember him, similar to what I was saying about Willow's physicality, it's the first time I can remember him cutting a big promo that didn't feel like he was playing a wrestler. He always has that little, like, I'm your dungeon master doing a wizard's voice, and like there's something artificial about his presentation.
It does sound like an anime character.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the connection for him too. Sure, yes, you're right. That's what it is. There's a lot of him being an anime villain, even when he's a babyface. Even the way he says adieu, like it's all just a put on.
Yeah.
Last night, it felt real, and with the suit on, he felt like fucking Ric Flair. Like it was a great performance by a guy who has done all he needs to do to be a Hall of Famer, but really has the potential to be, over the next 2-3 years, of putting himself on Mount Rushmore. It's like, it's huge to see him wrestling at this ability and performing at this level. And Ospreay is even more intriguing to watch. Well, go ahead. What are you going to say?
I think the Omega thing is really interesting because, for all the reasons you say, right? Like, I think there's some real deal, and I have zero connections to Omega or any of those folks, but I think there's some real life sort of something to prove with Kenny Omega. I think a lot of people thought he was washed up. I think some of his peers may have thought he was washed up. And he keeps saying this thing where, I forget the actual phrase, but he says, do I look like I'm tired, or do I look like I've given up, or something like that? That's what it was. Like, do I look like I've given up? And I think he challenged himself in the same way a guy like Randy Orton challenged himself at the beginning of the year to, like, get back into the shape and look like the guy that everybody knows you are. You know what I mean? And I think that goes down to the suit. I think that goes down to cutting a good promo. I think Kenny will be the first person to tell you that, like, he's not the best promo guy, but yesterday he sounded like a great promo. He sounded like the beef with him and Will was legitimate. And I got to give AEW credit here. All of the qualms that I had with all of Will Ospreay's decisions with the Death Riders at Redemption up until now, I'm so glad they had a video package of the Death Riders watching the shit, like, as it happens, because because that's the whole thing I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah, Moxley, you were right. Like, this guy's a nincompoop, and he's gonna blow it when the time matters, and that's the story they're trying to tell. The fact that, Ospreay, and I know you were going to talk about Ospreay right after this, the fact that they addressed it right away at the top of the show when he walks in and he sees the Death Riders, and they have that little bit of a standoff, and it doesn't really get too violent, but you know why it did it. Like, in some ways, Jon Moxley is still acting like a player coach for Will Ospreay.
Sure.
And him getting one winged angel at the end of Redemption and them showing his reaction to it was the exact reaction I had when he got one winged angel. It's like, yeah, bro, that was stupid. You have to fight this guy for the biggest match of your life. Why aren't you locked in? You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, listen, it inverts so many pro wrestling tropes, and everything is tropes. Like even the inversion is a trope, but just the two top heroes, that end up having to tag together before the pay-per-view, and they always put them in the same side, like we see with Cody and Punk, right? I mean, yeah, it's inverts that, because it's like, no, I'm actually an asshole. Like I'm not I'm not a heel. I'm just not your friend. Like what we have to fight each other now, I was just going to say watching Ospreay is incredibly enthralling because there's no more fucking around time. Like he is the next thing he does is becoming the face of the company. And we've been talking about this for so long, like 18 months, 2 years, that it seems like such a foregone conclusion that we don't think deeply about it. But no, man, this is a guy who has the potential to be the best wrestler in the world, full stop. Like he could reach that level. And suddenly he's got to prove it. He's got to carry that load, right? And it's not happening now, but I mean, it doesn't happen until he gets the belt. But to watch him and just think like he's ready in ways that most wrestlers never get ready for a world title run, but is he as ready as he could be? Like I'm turning into Jon Moxley watching him on the mic. You know what I mean? Like, is he like, I don't want to be sitting here in a month having a conversation about like Will Ospreay's not up to the job, or like is Will Ospreay a transitional champion, or you know what I mean? But like I don't, and I'm sure we won't. But dude, I just can't even imagine. How do you get in the headspace of like I'm taking over this business now? It's very strange, especially when, like I said, like the urgent call for him to be the next face of the company was like a year. Remember, it was the last All In that we were like, how are they going to take a year before they give this guy the belt? And they've done a good job of padding out the time, but like, he's got to do it now. And the crowd's going to go wild. And like, that's not a question, but it's like in the Dynamite after that, like, is he the champ?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what AEW does a lot is that like, they don't zig when everyone zags. Like if something is pointing towards something pretty obvious, they usually do the obvious thing. It's just how they get there, which is what usually captures my attention. And I think if I had to put some money down, I think we all know Will Ospreay is leaving Wembley Stadium as the AEW World Champion. I probably thought
block of the decade, yeah.
Like, I thought that was going to be the result once they announced they were going back to Wembley Stadium last year, right? So the whole challenge now is making it interesting, like making me give a fuck about why this is going to happen the way it's supposed to happen now, and why now matters. And I think, and again, they've done a really good job. You got to give them credit when they do a good job of keeping continuity of the storytelling. Will Ospreay, Moxley, and Kenny are all waiting for Ospreay to be the person who can pull the trigger at the time, to have that killer instinct at that time. Moxley has that killer instinct all the time. Omega has that killer instinct in the ring. And Will Ospreay's trying to find that happy medium and be like, I don't want to fight a guy who's injured. When I fight a guy, I don't want to kill him. When we're in the ring, I want to, I want you at your absolute best, because I feel
Ospreay,
like I'm absolute best. Yeah. So
Moxley clearly has no trouble killing somebody or wrestling somebody 1/3 his size, like he did last night. That was one of the most bizarre visual disparity. I was watching with my 7-year-old, and I was like, "Wait, come stand next to me." I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of the same, kind of the same look here." Yeah,
it's a little bit,
anyway,
a little bit. But no, the challenge that they had was keeping people interested to this road to Wembley Stadium. And all of the silly choices that, me watching, be careful now, me watching as a wrestling fan and not some smart mark, like, oh, they should book it this way, they should book it that way. Like, I'm judging what I'm seeing on the TV screen. Will Ospreay is making choices that seem pretty stupid, and they're explaining the stupid choices in real time. So you get the satisfaction, hopefully, at All In, where you see Ospreay unleash a new level of viciousness, competition, will to win, whatever you call it, in his home city, home country, all that type of stuff, to, make the main event of your biggest show feel like the biggest main event of your biggest show. So you got to give him credit there. If you're going to do something that makes no sense, you better have a way to explain it, and they've done a good way of explaining it right now. Like,
here's a question.
Will Ospreay clearly wants to win the right way.
For Will Ospreay, do you think that would be like, if you keep comparing him to Sting, which is the right comparison?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think for as much as we've talked about that being Sting's fatal flaw, that would actually just reflect poorly on Ospreay in 2026 if he's perceived as that guy? Like, you're kind of a dodo, Do you think that would affect people's fandom of him? I'm not saying now. Yeah. I'm saying if it continues or whatever, if this becomes his identity.
It affected how I enjoyed Redemption, except that, like, as these dumb things happened, they followed it up throughout the show. Like, if the Ospreay Mox Young Bucks tag team match ended the way it did, and we didn't hear from these guys until Dynamite, I'd be like, they're nerfing their most important character right now, and it's the dumbest shit that they could possibly do.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't mind the dumb shit as long as it's explained. Like, I don't mind. Like, sometimes you got to write a character stupid. Sometimes you got to write a character a little naive, and like, that's not a reflection on the creative. It's a reflection on the character. Like, the character's doing dumb shit. Like, if you're writing the character to do some dumb shit, that's good creative, especially if you explain it and it makes sense along the way.
It's totally true. Especially when you don't expect it from the person being dumb. It can be endearing,
Yes.
But like, it's I think for some reason I just thought of like George Clooney and like, Oh Brother or whatever. When he plays, he's such a charismatic character, similar to Ospreay in totally different genres, that whenever he plays the dope, you're surprised, right? But then the knowing smile takes on a different meaning. The knowing smile that is quintessentially Clooney becomes a defense. It's like he smiles like that so that nobody knows how dumb he is. You know what I mean? And you can write dumb and you can make it super interesting. But I mean, that's why I'm so intrigued. Let's see where Ospreay's going to go. Anyway, we got to move to SummerSlam. One last question. If Ospreay wins it all in, do Omega, this is just yes or no, do Omega and Mox both shake his hand after the match?
No. I think you go straight to Ospreay Mox right afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've been a weird ride for Mox. Remember he was babyface for like 2 months, and then
he's
now
reached
he's
that place where it doesn't even matter. He could be a babyface.
No, I think that's the ideal spot for them, and it's really kind of intriguing. But it was weird that they had that moment of just like, now we love them again, and then he's like, let me murder Will Ospreay. Anyway, let's talk SummerSlam. Are you excited?
Yes.
If I pulled up to your house in a van right now and I just said, hey, we're driving to Minnesota, are you jumping in?
Fuck no, but I'll fly there.
Yeah, we're only doing a road trip for content. If like Red Bull wants to sponsor our drive to Minneapolis, then okay.
And I'm still, and it's got to be in a bus too. Like, fuck it can't be in a Scooby Doo van. I'm gonna need to move around a bit.
Well, dude, you only have to sleep it's like one night of sleep. You'd be like moving around during the drive.
Yeah. We gotta, I need. It's got to be a tour bus type of situation.
Mr. Hot 97 over here.
Hot 97. I want to travel like Cody Rhodes, baby. Give me a bus. Let's get somewhere where we could like play video games on the way there.
When
like,
you get fired, like when Big Show left WWE, does he keep his bus? I guess not, right? Do they just retrofit it into being someone else's bus? Or maybe all the buses are on lease anyway, so it doesn't really matter?
It's a good question. I feel like we got to ask, how many people who had buses are no longer in WWE?
Well, Big Show and John Cena, there's two.
Well, John Cena got another job. Big Show doesn't wrestle really for AEW.
No, but I'm saying, what happened to those buses? Like, did the wrestler keep it? Does WWE like put it back in the garage, or is it just a bus lease service anyway, so it doesn't matter? This is interesting because John Cena's bus is probably worth 20 times what the bus is worth. What the machine is worth. So not
all those buses are. Well, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like all those people who have buses have like decals on them like Cody's buses. A couple of the other buses are nondescript, like Roman's bus.
And listen,
bus.
WWE were with Fanatics selling that piece of a chair, or selling that chair from a match that didn't have a chair. Well, I'm sure it'll lead some people to be suspicious about such things. But, dude, like, if the on-location dudes haven't figured out, like, ride to the next WrestleMania in what was once John Cena's bus, they're crazy, right? Just have some bottles of Jack Daniels in there and have a John Cena spinner belt on the wall or whatever. Have some, discarded wristbands in the trash can, and like people would pay $1 million to do this, right? So anyway.
You gotta draw a little decal on the inside that says this is where John Cena outdrank JBL for the first time.
Exactly.
Earned his trust.
By the way, always the coolest and most surprising thing about John Cena is just the sort of ceremonial drinking. Right?
Yes.
Then everybody speaks of him like he's fucking Andre the Giant.
Like he's Paul Bunyan, son. Like, there's one time John Cena drank like a liter of Hennessy or some shit. And,
when you make the case that he's
carried us all home in his arms and shit like that.
When you make the case that he's the GOAT, that's probably the strongest argument, more so than anything he did in the ring. Anyway.
You'll come around one day.
Yeah. If the heel run had worked, there's a maybe. But anyway, I'm not going to go into that now.
I'd make the argument that it did work, but that's for another day.
Should we? Okay. So let's just start with the big stuff, man. Speaking of ex-champions, let's talk about a champion. Saturday, main event, Undisputed WWE Championship match, CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. First question. We're going to do picks. But first question. Who do you think's more offended to be going on Saturday, CM Punk or Cody Rhodes?
CM Punk, I think.
Okay.
I think, you were the main event of WrestleMania. This is your first title defense on the premium live event. You probably feel a type of way, but I don't think he feels that bad of a type of way. If I had to pick between him and Cody seems like the guy that's more like, sure, whatever. Punk seems like a little bit.
I mean, Cody certainly seems like more of a team player, but I don't know, man. I mean, just look at the role he's playing right now. He's not happy to be second banana, and I don't think that's
low-key might be the third banana, if we're being honest.
Exactly, and I don't think that's disconnected from reality. I think Cody really has some of that. I mean, listen, anybody that was raised in the sport, or frankly, anybody that's been doing the sport for 30 years, so a lot of these headliners can go into this category, you get caught up in it. It's not if you're not Bret Hart, who, seemingly thought that the business was real on some level, that the title belts were that meaningful. You're kind of that, right? Like you kind of come to the point where it's like you get the belt, you carry it for a while, and then when they take it away, it's got to break your heart, even if it's best for business, even if they say you're getting it back next year, like whatever. I think Cody's got to feel that way. He's got to wake up every morning and be like, my back hurts from what I've given to this business. And also because of all the metal chairs I've sat in signing my autograph for not the fans, for WWE backstage, whatever. He's like, why am I hug every kid. I kiss every baby, I high five every, and I don't get to be champion. CM Punk, by the way, I hope we get to talk to him again soon because he has held so many babies since you made him hold that baby. That's like his gimmick now. You were the bait. You're
welcome, Punk.
Yeah, he did it coming to the ring the other day. He picked a baby up out of the. I mean, come on, that's got to be dangerous.
You got to give him his babies. You got to give him babies. Yeah. I'm happy I could be part of the Punk lore in some way, shape, or form. We could put that on my gravestone. But with the Cody stuff, I gotta challenge it because you made event at SummerSlam last year, right? Like you had one of my favorite matches of all time last year with John Cena. Like you earned the right to be a night 2 main eventer at WrestleMania, SummerSlam, any of that shit.
But
the tribal chief didn't even main event last Saturday. He opened the show. Him and Yeet Man opened the show at SummerSlam last year. So it's not that it's a your turn, my turn sort of thing. It's like, all right, let's do this right. We know what the hierarchy is.
Is it surprising that this is the night 1 main event? I mean, honestly, this is not that big of a deal. And I think you're right that Punk would probably be more mad than Cody, but I don't think anybody's mad because everybody knows that the night 1 main event is on par with the night 2 or slightly, the 1B. It's not
Cameron's fault.
It's not the second to last. Yeah, it's not the second to last match on night 2. The second to last match on night 2 is not more important than the main event on night 1. Right? We all understand this. That said, is it a little surprising that this is the night 1 main event? I mean, I know the answer is no because Roman Reigns is in the other one, but like, I feel like this is a bigger match than Roman versus Seth.
I mean, I'll tell you, I don't know. I feel like Punk and Cody. And I said this on the show a few weeks ago. I felt like that was the WrestleMania main event. Like, I think that's that you do that, you stretch it out to there. But since we're doing it now, and you have Roman on the card, and he's fighting Seth Rollins, a guy that we never see him fight, even though they have all this history together. And as much as, I mean, shit, if I'm Triple H, Punk and Cody were not here when Roman and Seth were carrying the ball. And had a lot of that story to be told. So
that's right.
From a storyline standpoint, like, yes, Roman and Seth should main event over Cody and Punk. As big as Cody and Punk is, as much as massive stars they are, the Roman Seth story sort of supersedes the Cody Punk story. It's there. It's a lot to bite into, but it's not this story. You know what I mean? So I think it's the proper main events that are being held right there. But I don't know, you said the second to last match isn't the most important match. If Brock and Oba go on right before Roman and Seth, I might have to disagree. Like, Cody Punk might slide down to third.
Speaking of Brock and Oba, have they announced, are there going to be matches on ESPN? They announced that there were, right?
I'm pretty certain the one that I saw was, I think Gable Penta for the Intercontinental Championship will be on ESPN.
Okay.
And but yeah, I think they gave Punk and they gave Oba and Brock away last time. I think this time they're gonna like, yeah, bro, we're gonna need you to sign up for this one.
Did they announce night 1 ESPN?
I think they have. Let me see.
My guess is the 6-man.
All right, boom, here we go. So Saturday, you've got the aforementioned Punk, Cody, Oba, Brock, Liv, Io, Gunther, Nick Aldis, LA Knight Solo, Royce Keys versus the Bloodline, and the Bella Twins versus Paige and the Bella Twins and Paige versus Fatal Influence. Sunday night, Roman Seth, the interim WWE Championship ladder match with Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green, and a mystery opponent. Penta and Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship, Trick Williams and Baron Corbin for the U.S. Championship, and Undisputed WWE Championship #1 contenders match between Sami Zayn and Finn Balor and Danhausen versus Dominik.
Yes.
That's your Sunday.
If I had to give you if I had to guess the night 1 free match, I would say the 6-man. LA Knight Solo and Royce versus the versus the Bloodline.
Yeah, we're going to need some yeeting. We're going to need some yeets. So I can see that.
Yeah, because you got the entrance and then you can have the baby faces go. Anyway, let's make our picks.
Jey Uso could only main event or open a show. So
yes.
If he's in the match, that's the only way you're going to see it.
Yeah. Bruce, you have to get on mic so you can make picks too. We'll just do it super fast as we go through these. CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. This is maybe the hardest one to pick for me, and we're starting off with it. So Kaz, what do you got?
I am going to go CM Punk. It would make a lot of sense for Cody to win here, but I just get the feeling that this is going to be something that doesn't end at SummerSlam. And to have it stretch out a little bit, I think the smart way to go is to have Punk win in a way that sort of tells a story that started being told in Madison Square Garden, where Cody's trying to pretty much call out Punk for being this sort of like, you're like this one way, but you do these little sort of what's the word I'm looking for? We do these
like backhanded
microaggressions, these backhanded things, whatever. And I think Punk's gonna do another thing like that that's gonna have Cody flip out a little bit. So I think one way or another, Punk leaves Minnesota still the WWE champion.
I kind of imagine something similar, but the reverse, so that it would be just sort of Cody ends up doing that thing, and then we sort of get a race to being it's like who can be the bigger heel by WrestleMania, because they both start devolving sort of. But I'm going to pick Cody.
You ever see that movie with Lakeith Stanfield and Jermaine Fowler when they're both like complimenting each other in each other's faces? Like, oh, you smell good. No, you smell good. What is that? That's Punk and Cody. Like, they're like in a compliment battle, but like, they're trying so hard to hate each other in the nicest way possible.
Jermaine's another big wrestling fan. Great dude, that guy.
Shout out Jermaine Fowler, man. Good brother.
I think I'm gonna pick Cody, but I don't disagree with you on a single point. I'm just gonna pick. It's a coin flip for me, and it's like yeah, you can just, this is pro wrestling. You can just as easily drag it out by switching the title as keeping the title. I don't know. Bruce, what's your pick?
I have a hard time picking against Cody here. I feel like, or not picking against Punk here. Cody, I think, is better
like
on the run.
One?
Yeah. I was highlighting our picks here, but yeah, I think it's hard to pick against Punk. Like he's better holding the belt and Cody's better on the chase. It's just like time and time again, we've been shown that.
Yeah.
It's a really strong point. Yeah. I mean, I don't think this is going to be decided in terms of managing egos. I don't think any company should run that way, and certainly not, buttoned up WWE. I don't think there's probably that many egos to manage, but to Triple H's face, people probably aren't complaining a bunch, but I don't know. It's a coin flip for me. I'm going to go with Cody to balance things out. All right, next one, Hell in a Cell match, Femi versus Brock Lesnar. Sheesh, man. Who do you think? Who would you rather be in this match, Kaz? Like, who do you think is going to take the least punishment, just like as a worker in this match?
I think Brock. I think this is going to be Femi's Earn It match. All right, I feel like the last two matches, it's shown Femi in advantageous positions. They've kept him looking strong. WrestleMania, he flat out beats Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
The second time they match up against each other, Oba takes 7 F5s or something crazy like that, and loses. But he didn't really lose if he had to take 7 F5s to take the L. I think this is gonna be the match where Brock gets Oba a little bloody. You know what I'm saying? I think Oba really gets the shit kicked out of him.
But he's gonna get hit in the back with a chair 700 times.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see some Brock is gonna. I think Brock's going to empty the clip on Oba, but I think eventually it's going to show that Femi has what it takes to sort of stand in there with the craziest motherfucker to ever do it and somehow win. So I'm going to give it a limping Femi out of Hell in a Cell.
I love that framing, Kaz. I think you're 100% right. And I think that, the stories about Andre the Giant, if he didn't like you, you would really know it in the ring. He would just be rough with you and stuff. Like Randy Savage had there's a couple of matches on tape where you can just tell Randy's getting just ragdolled around off script, and there's stories about him leaving various people leaving the locker room when they see that their name is next to Andre on the bulletin board or whatever. And then once you get to know, Hogan famously had the thing where he brought Andre a case of wine during one of their tours in Japan, and they sat in the back of the bus where the seats were removed because that's the only way Andre would fit, and they drank the whole case of wine, and then they were friends. And then Andre's nice to you in the ring. But when you get in the ring with Andre, even if you think he likes you now, you still got to be a little worried, right? That's where I think Femi is. It's wow, Brock's really agreed to put me over. This is great. And it's and now you're doing Hell in a Cell, and you're oh man, I hope he doesn't change his mind. It's just a little bit. We know it's all scripted, but Brock is one of the few people like Andre who really makes you feel like he's a wild animal. He's a mythical beast, and it's hard to predict what he's going to do. But I think you're right. I mean, of course, Femi's going to win this, and Bruce, please pick Brock Lesnar, because I would love to hear this argument. But I think you're going to pick Oba.
Not being caught dead doing that. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. We're all unite on Oba. Next up, Women's World Championship match. Liv Morgan, the greatest Women's World Champion of all time. Saw her on First Take today. And versus Io Sky. This one's really hard to predict because of the limited reps that both of them, frankly, have gotten recently. Obviously, every single someone pointed out, every single time the Judgment Day has a match, the Judgment Day goes for the beatdown. Io Sky runs in for the save, and every time Liv Morgan looks shocked, they zoom in on Liv Morgan's shocked face. It's by the 12th time, maybe you shouldn't be so shocked anymore. I mean, this is going to be a crazy good match, or has the potential to be one. I think this is going to be. I think the thing that I'm looking forward to most is how high can Liv Morgan ascend in the ring on this match. In my opinion, but that's not the biggest thing in terms of real stakes. But I don't know. I mean, I have no idea who's going to win this. I have no idea. Are there predictions? What are the who do you think is going to win, Kaz?
This is a tough one to call, man. Io Sky is probably the best wrestler on the roster, so you know the match is going to be great. And Liv Morgan's probably one of the biggest stars on the roster. So, and also she can wrestle her ass off. However, now they're making it like when something becomes a thing, then I get a little apprehensive. Like them making the 100 days no defense a thing online is like, she's probably retaining. However, add to that, it's hard to beat the champ twice. You know what I'm saying? And you beat Liv Morgan at Night of Champions, right? No. Wherever King of the Ring is, Crown Jewel, whatever that was. You beat her there. And beating her at SummerSlam with no title defenses just doesn't seem right to me. So I think it's going to be a great match, but I think Liv Morgan retains.
I'm looking at some odds online right now. CM Punk is the favorite, not by a lot, -300 to +200 for Cody. And Liv Morgan is the favorite here, -200 to +150 for Io Sky. You can see, I mean, that's close. Really hard to predict. I'm going, God. I mean, I would say Io Sky. I mean, I would say Liv Morgan, because I feel like there's more you can do in the immediately with storyline, but they've just spent 100 days not having her wrestle. So, I mean, is she secretly dinged up? I just don't know what's going on. And are they creatively bankrupt? I mean, I don't think that's true, but it's there's a sort of inexplicable nature to it. So, I'm going to go with Io Sky. I'm going to go against the grain on that one. I don't know, Bruce, what do you think?
I'm going to go Io Sky. I think that she will beat Liv after not defending at all. I think this is not going to be Liv's last time holding the belt. I think it's totally fine to have a reign where you're a heel in a heel faction saying, yeah, man, I had the belt, but I never defended it. That's fine with me. Let's go with Io.
And somehow her calling herself the greatest world champion of all time works when you don't have the belt too, So she can stay on it. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a toss up. The Hell in a Cell match, for the record, Femi is -2,000 to Brock Lesnar's +700. I mean, is that the
so it's close to a lock as possible.
There's one match there's two matches that I won't tell you yet that have larger odds. Would you want to guess what they are?
I'm gonna guess. Oh, let me look at the card one more time. I'm gonna guess. Wow, I don't know. Penta Chad Gable?
No. Actually, where is that one? Because that one should be super high too, right?
Sunday night, yeah. I think it's a Gable night for that match.
Here we go. Yeah, it's close. It's not as bad. Gable's -1,500 to Penta +600. So that's a pretty big gap too. No, the biggest one is there's one other 2,000. Gunther is favored -2,000 to Nick Aldis +700.
Oh yeah.
But the craziest odds are Trick Williams versus Baron Corbin for the U.S. title. Trick is currently opened at -4,000. Baron Corbin is +1,000.
I might put some money on that.
On Baron Corbin?
I think I might put some money on Corbin,
Yeah.
Like low as the key. I don't know. If they didn't just give Trick Williams his own custom belt, I would have put some money on Corbin. And being like, all right, they really got a baby face of all baby faces in Trick Williams. And the best way to get people to get really behind them is to put the title on a guy that nobody can stand and probably don't think they deserve it and could probably wrestle really well. As a Trick Williams fan, I would hate it, but
I didn't even think about the custom belt. I think that's probably the greatest. We could just do these out of order. That's probably the greatest argument in favor of him keeping it. But it's also a great way to when he's ready to switch up his look. It'd be a great idea if if he's done with the white fur for now, have Baron Corbin win the belt and then just keep the customized belt. So now suddenly it's like maybe he gets the white coat too, and he's like,
you got to keep the fur.
Yeah, you got to keep the fur. And then Femi's like, it's like the Sneetches. It's like, dude, if that guy's wearing white fur, then white fur is not cool anymore. So I got to do something else, right? And so he can change it up. And also that might be Baron Corbin's best character ever, as the guy with the white fur.
Bum ass Corbin. Now he's
now he's badass Corbin or whatever. Can we all agree that Trick Williams is winning that match?
Yes, I agree. Trick Williams is winning that match. Yeah.
What night is that on? Is that night 2 or night
Sunday
1?
night?
That's tonight 2. Okay, cool. Well, let's just go down the betting odds side of this. Who cares if we do this stuff in order? Let's see. Okay, Chad Gable versus Penta was the other one we discussed. Chad Gable's at minus 1,500. Actually, the line opened, according to this blog, this is from eWrestling.com. The line opened at Penta plus 550 and Gable at minus 1,000. But now they've skewed even further in Chad Gable's favor. I previously called this the lead pipe lock or the stone cold lock of the entire event, but we talked about some other ones that are maybe even more set. Is there an argument for Penta retaining here?
No, there isn't. Except like Penta's awesome. Like that's the only argument. It's like, Penta, I have the same one. Oh, where
Penta,
is it?
who will join us now on the show in Wrestle Buddy form. Yeah, we love him. We love him to death. He's been a great champ. He's maybe the most, like, the best possible, like, serviceable mid-card title holder. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't lose anything from losing the title, and he keeps the belt, like, so fresh. Like, he is the human crisper, you know? Like, he'll like, I don't know. It's just, like, there's, books just fell. But there's no, like, downside to him holding the belt, and there's not a particularly downside to him losing. This is Chad Gable's story. I wish they'd done it a tiny bit different, but no one can deny the effect he had on the business during his return from injury and everything else. So, yeah, Chad Gable's going to win.
Yeah,
Bruce, you agree? You can nod or thumbs up. Yeah, Bruce is nodding.
It closes the loop on the Chad Gable luchador story. It all started with Penta. Like, it all started with Penta's debut. And now Chad Gable in his hometown with a crowd participation theme song and a title match on the line and probably going to be on ESPN. Yeah, it's going to be a Gable moment. And, you know, for as great of a year as he's had, he probably has the WWE match of the year as it stands right now. I think he wants to go out there with Penta and outdo that with the world watching and show that he's ready to hold gold. And they have set up Chad Gable perfectly to go out there and just do what he's always done, which is be an awesome fucking wrestler and get the crowd behind you. So we'll see how it goes. I think he's a lock to win the IC title.
I think the fact that he's such a lock sort of has blinded me a little bit to the potential of this match, which is to say, you know, the disappearance of the Creed brothers and their temporary return, I guess there's so many questions there that you can't assume anything, but their absence has been notable to me. Like, what if Chad Gable turns heel in this match? Like, I know he was just a heel, but maybe what if this was all a fucking long con and then the freaking the Creeds come out in their Americano masks, and he's like, "Get out of here! I told you to get out of here!" But then really, they're in league together, and he's laughing at the end, holding the title over like a bloody Penta. Like there's some fun stuff. I'm just not all the way in on Gable as a babyface right now, so I'm maybe fantasy booking a little too far. But Gable's definitely going to win. I just think that I agree that it has the potential to be like a match of the year, and I hope they give it the time and the thought to do that. But I think that there's some cool storytelling stuff you could do here, too, because if Gable wins, if it's just a match, even if it's a 5-star match and Gable wins, like what happens the next day, or what happens on Raw? Maybe they're going to really give a good look at Gable, the top baby face, but it's a little up in the air for me. Anyway, I think we all agree on that one. Okay, we talked about Corbin and Trick. We talked about the other big odds. Gunther versus Nick Aldis. I haven't really thought about this one in terms of who's going to win. I mean, yeah, I think we would all pick Gunther, but at the same time, it's like, what's the point of this? I mean, it's not as simple as what's the point of this match if Aldis doesn't win. But like, what's the case? Is there a case for Nick Aldis? I guess I'll ask you the same question, Kaz.
Yes, there is, because I think the best finish here is a non-finish. I think we get like a double something, a no contest, something like Nick Aldis is a wrestler. Nick Aldis has some history, but this is a blood feud now, and this is also a guy who is a staff member. He's a suit, so like I think he's gonna do some things, and Gunther's gonna do some things that aren't necessarily going to be your traditional, let's have a Matt Classic sort of match, but that you probably expect from the two. So I think we're going to get a no contest here. I think giving a Nick Aldis a win here is probably a little too much, but I just think you can't have Gunther quote unquote lose. Like there has to be something there that drags this out, that ups the stakes, that gives us a stipulation when they fight again. And, it keeps Gunther busy until the Royal Rumble. So I don't think we get a finish in this match. I think this will be a no contest.
That's a good call. Bruce, what's your pick here?
I think that Nick Aldis loses in a valiant performance to be like, oh, look, this guy, he really was a wrestler. He's great. But then they're still going to put Gunther over in the end.
I still can't. I still think everybody's seen Nick Aldis wrestle. All of us have seen Nick Aldis wrestle. There's a huge number of WWE fans who'll be cramming the arena or cramming the stadium in Minneapolis who probably haven't seen Nick Aldis wrestle. And I sort of feel like people are going to be like literally shocked when he unveils his physique, like even if he's not exactly what he was, like it's going to really be, it's just a very bizarre visual when like your general manager is in better shape than the guy who's been demolishing everybody and who we've been talking about how great shape he's in for the past 3 years. It's got to be pretty wild.
I saw some wild stat that Nick Aldis is younger than like all the main eventers.
Oh yes,
SummerSlam
that is correct.
Like that. So can't be
I think all but one, but regardless, he's not too old, whatever. But here's what I'll say: the one thing that stuck out to me in this whole lead up was when Gunther put him through the table the other night. Just go back and watch it. Nick Aldis sold that. Not just everybody sells getting hurt when they go through a table, but he managed to land his body in a contorted way that I would not have expected he would be able to pose. He lands like with one arm up and one arm down. Like it's like this crazy thing. And it's just like, I don't know if that was just spur of the moment, if that's just this guy's inherent skill, but I just watched it and I was like, oh, he's ready to sell. He is ready. Like he can pull it off despite his physique. He's going to get his ass handed to him for a while. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Kaz, you made a very compelling case for a non-finish. But I got to stick with my pick, which is that Gunther's going to win.
Yeah.
I don't.
If I had to put my own money on it, I'd take.
I don't feel great about it, and I feel like that you might be closer to where my gut is. Like it feels like they got to have something else up their sleeve here. Except with Gunther, in a lot of ways, the most obvious thing has always been the answer. Look at his booking, beating these legends every time. We're like, well, is he gonna? Maybe this is the time for him to lose against. It's always so obvious. And there is a very obvious path, which is Gunther beats the living shit out of the general manager of SmackDown, Nick Aldis, or the former, and then a storyline. Maybe he's fighting freaking Adam Pearce at the next pay-per-view. Or, maybe that's the next. Maybe it's just. Maybe the storyline is only about Gunther, I guess is what I'm saying, which would make a lot more sense than it. Because I keep trying to reconcile what do we do with Nick Aldis after he loses? Although it would be really funny to see Nick Aldis get his job back and be in a wheelchair for like 6 months. Like that could be a nice visual. Anyway, we got to make some traction here. All right, let's skip to the big one. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, World Heavyweight Championship match. Roman Reigns is minus 1,500 to Seth's plus 600. Fuck that. Seth's winning. Seth's winning this match. That's my pick. What else do I need? We all know the storyline here. They've done a good job of telling the story, and it's like built into all of our brains. Kaz, what's your pick?
I'm picking a tribal chief. I think Seth Rollins has had many a moments with the World Heavyweight Championship. He has many a moment with Roman. He had many a moment at SummerSlam. And for some reason, he always ends up victorious in all of these moments. I don't think this will be one of them. It's the rare occasion where I think Roman Reigns needs a win. He needs to beat Seth Rollins, and I think that's going to happen.
I kind of take the opposite point of view because I think Seth's thing, like, I've got your number, I always beat you. I think that's a good storytelling contrivance, right? I think that's a great way to talk your way into this big match. But I think the more compelling thing is what goes with that saying there, which is like Seth always beats Roman Reigns, and it doesn't fucking matter. Like Roman Reigns is still 10 times a bigger star. You know, it's like, who cares if you beat me? It's just like, whatever. It's like, I don't need to beat you. Like, why would I care? I also haven't beat like Bruce, the producer of the Masked Man show, but that doesn't mean I'm not the best wrestler ever. Like it's who cares? Anyway, I think Seth's gonna win, but I don't. And I agree with you, and I've said I agree with you in the past that this is a get back that Roman needs, and probably in a real human being way that he probably wants. But I don't think this feud is necessarily over either. And
I just have a hard time believing Roman Reigns is going to drop that title to anybody that doesn't need the elevation.
That is not Samoan.
That is not Samoan, or doesn't need some sort of elevation towards it. Like, I just have a hard time believing you're gonna run it back with Seth as the world heavyweight champion. If you're gonna do that, you might as well just keep it on Roman Reigns. Let Roman do his spot dates, and then when the moment calls for it, like, that is the title that you put on a Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Obafemi, any of these guys. Like, that's Javon Evans. Like, that's what a Roman Reigns L is supposed to feel like. A Roman Reigns title L can't be linear. You know what I mean? Like, I think losing to Seth, losing to Cody at this point, losing to Punk, that's such a linear move. Someone has to rise up and beat this guy. And I don't think Seth is going to rise up and beat him.
Okay. Bruce, what's your pick?
I think Roman's going to win. If you look at the history, or just in general, I've seen Seth Rollins lay on his back a lot more than I've seen Roman Reigns, so I'll believe Roman's losing when I see it.
That's true. Mm-hmm. But I don't disagree. There's a great case. I mean, the odds are obviously in your guys' favor. All right, let's move on. What have we not covered so far? Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor. Thank the Lord that this is on this card. This getting added just made me so happy. Love the way that they did it. I didn't listen. If this was a long con, no, I keep saying long con. If this was a long con to get me to finally believe that Finn Balor wasn't going to win a match, that's where I was in SmackDown on Friday. I was sure Finn was going to lose. There's no way he's getting this spot. And now they're really going through that. This is the match of the also-rans. This is the battle of the two guys who we have said the most times they deserve to be world champion that never got a chance, except for Sami very recently. I have no idea who's going to win this match. The odds are slightly in Finn's favor, but nothing to speak of here. Who do you think is going to win, Kaz?
Oof, this is a tough one. I think I'm going to go Sami. I think Sami's going to win this one. It would be nice for Finn to win, but come on.
I think Finn.
How many times?
Finn's a slight favorite.
Like, this might be the Finn moment, and it just is.
That's what I said. But I think they finally dispelled us. I mean, they finally convinced us that doesn't work. Listen, we're all in agreement here. I think Finn's going to win because Sami is more interesting as the guy who doesn't get his way. He has more to complain about, and Finn obviously stands to gain so much more by through this win. Anyway, Bruce, what do you pick? We got to move fast here.
Yeah, I think Sami's winning.
All right. I'm out on a limb again. You guys are in lockstep. All right. Dirty Dom versus Danhausen. Human Monies on a pole match. Just the stipulation, the Human Monies on a pole makes it all worthwhile. Obviously was not a big fan of the musical performance on Raw that Danhausen was a part of. I'm not not particularly sure how I feel about Danhausen being a wrestler on a major show like this, but I don't think this is going to be much of a wrestling match. To me, it's more about Dirty Dom, and I'm more interested to see like who's worth more in WWE's eyes. Who do you think is worth more? If Triple H had to fire one of these two guys, Kaz, who would it be?
Unfortunately, Danhausen, right? Like, I kind of think there's.
If Rey Mysterio wasn't involved, if Rey Mysterio, if you didn't have to keep Rey happy, would you pick? It's not
even about Rey. It's like Danhausen is entering dangerously close to like Poochie from Itchy and Scratchy levels.
That's what Monday was, dude.
They might need to send him back to his home planet if they, keep running through him for every single show, every single segment, every single celebrity, every single sports moment. It's like, all right.
Every single comedy character. By the way, WWE, message to you guys. I love Joe Hendry. I think Joe Hendry has so much untapped potential. It's unclear if Joe Hendry is self-aware in WWE lore. right? He is not the same kind of funny as Danhausen. They're doing completely different things. Danhausen is this fully meta, realized, self-aware character. And to put Joe Hendry, you got to commit to put somebody next to Danhausen, and they have to commit to the bit. Joe Hendry did his damn best in that scene, but they're just not the same. And if you're sitting back there saying, oh, these two funny guys will be funny together, it's like, no, these are two very different kinds of funny guys. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't put, It
almost felt like they wanted to give.
It
almost felt like they wanted to give like Joe Hendry the Danhausen rub, and instead of like Joe Hendry getting over in the way that Danhausen did, it almost backfired a little bit. It almost like, man, now I don't like either of these guys.
I was about to say you don't put Kevin Hart and Charlie Chaplin in the same movie, but then I was like, that's kind of funny, actually.
I'd watch that.
I would watch that.
Lots of physical comedy. Yeah.
Okay, next match. Oh, wait, what's your pick, Bruce? We didn't make picks that time. You
didn't make picks, yeah.
Oh, shit. I don't even know who I want. I'm gonna pick Dirty Dom.
Dom.
Kaz?
Dom.
Wow. Across the board there. Sorry, Danhausen. We like you a lot. Jacob Fatu and the Usos. Usos, by the way, were, I think, the tag team with the longest non-defense streak. The Street Profits had them beat by a few days. WWE doesn't care about tag teams, so it doesn't really reflect on them. Jacob Fatu and the Usos versus LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys. The baby faces have a slight edge. Well, I don't know. If this is a pre-show match, then the baby faces are winning. That's all. That's my only real pick. I think if it's on the show, I'll pick the baby faces. I don't know. No, I take it back. Jacob Fatu and the Usos are going to win. There's going to be some dissension on the babyface side. What do you think? You agree, Kaz? You just point at me.
I agree. I think it's going to be as much as I love that Solo is leaning into the babyface and LA Knight and Royce Keys are getting a big spot here. Jacob Fatu is on the other side of that team. And when it comes to multi-man matches, you want to have a spot where this dude just takes out everybody and goes berserk and insane. And you got Jacob Fatu on your team. I'm going to pick Jacob Fatu's team. I think the Bloodline wins.
Bruce?
Yeah, no, I'm going with the heels. I think the Usos and Jacob Fatu will keep winning. I think that just keeps going. I think you'll get some dissension between LA Knight. We'll get like a Raw main event between LA Knight and like Royce Keys or something like that, and then just keep it moving.
We have the 6-woman tag match, Paige and the Bella Twins versus Fatal Influence. Paige, the Bella Twins have a tiny statistical advantage. Betting lead here. I think that they're going to win because they're just so much more famous than the heels, but the heels should win this match. So I don't know where to go. Kaz, who's going to win?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bellas and Paige. Yeah. I don't know. Fatal Influence took some bad. Fatal Influence took some pretty bad TV L's. They could use a big TV win. I changed my mind. I'm taking Fatal Influence.
They should win. They should win. I just think this is one of those things where like Ari Emanuel is reviewing the card at the last second. He's like, "What? Why wouldn't the Bella Twins win?" And then they change it up. I don't know. Bruce, who do you think's going to win?
Yeah, I think that Bella Twins turned on Paige and Fatal Influence wins.
Oh, great call. There's a huge turn here to be had. Last one we haven't covered. It's not up for betting odds because we don't know who's in the match, I presume. Interim WWE World Championship ladder match. I love the interim championship as just a contrivance in WWE. Great look. It's Tiffany Stratton, who's been really fun lately, versus Jade Cargill, versus Charlotte Flair, versus Chelsea Green, versus who's in the last match? Do we know?
It's just had question marks on this one.
But we don't know what the qualifying who's it gonna be? Mm-hmm. Could it just be Rhea Ripley, who's not as hurt as we thought she was?
It's between Julia and Lash Legend.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Like, that's the harder match for me to pick. Lash, I would think, would be the odds-on favorite by a lot, but I want Julia to win. I love Lash, too. And also, either of those people could be the winner here. Who do you think's going to win? Put them both in the running.
I'm going to go with Chelsea Green. I think this might be a Chelsea Green moment, and the fact that it's an interim championship just lends itself to believe that Chelsea's going to run with that and make it all her own. It's a ladder match. She has shined in ladder matches before.
That's true.
I think she's going to be the one who wins this one.
Who gets the most advantage from the ladder match format? You got to put Tiffany Stratton up at the top. And also, obviously, the Tiffany-Chelsea stuff has been really intriguing. Whether or not that's a world title, an interim world title feud after this, or they're just they're feuding separate, I guess is, could be either way. Charlotte is a lot. I would love to pick one of the people in the qualifier. I would love to pick Julia, but this isn't. I don't know if you can get over that much in the span of this ladder match. Maybe you can. I'm gonna go with you. Let's go Chelsea Green. Bruce, who do you got?
I'm going to go Charlotte Flair to continue this Alexa Charlotte stuff they got going on.
Good call. All right. Kaz, you want to get some plugs in on the way out of here before SummerSlam weekend officially begins?
Yeah, enjoy SummerSlam weekend, y'all, Minnesota. You can catch me on Mornings with Mero every Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. on High 97 every day. That's my word.
Thank you, Kaz. Thank you to producer Bruce Baldwin. Thanks to EP Ben Cruz. Thank you all for listening. Buy my book, Why Hulk Hogan Matters. And let's just take a minute to think about. This is my new closing gimmick, by the way. Let's just take a moment to think about how great Solo Sikoa has been the past couple of weeks. That's all I got. We'll see you back here next week, humanoids.
Peace.